Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, good pop, Dave.
Finally, I get a good pop. What are we having, H?
We are having an Elijah Craig toasted barrel.
That's right. Do you know why we're having an Elijah Craig toasted barrel, H?
Because that's one you chose to have off the shelf tonight.
Really peeking behind the curtain here. This is a good one.
Many reasons, Dave. It's one of our favourites.
Well, Elijah Craig is one of our favourites, and we love toasted barrel finishes. Cheers. So when we had Dan and Andrea on from Michter's, they told the story of when Michter's first released their toasted finish, and it was the first time they'd done it. It was like pretty innovative.
Yeah.
So this has happened obviously after that. In fact, I reckon We Toast tasted some of the first of it, and this is part of the story of why I had to get my hands on this bottle.
Because is the toasted barrel harder to come by than just their regular?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if you can get toasted barrel in Australia.
Oh, because the Elijah Craig, just their bourbon, is very easy to come by in Australia.
Super easy. In fact, it's one of the bottles you can really easily get. And I was thinking about it the other day that maybe it might be one of the ones that I would say you should get. If you're trying to get into bourbon, you like the big flavours. It's super mature. Lots of complex flavours, super mature for a, call it entry level. It's their kind of, entry point bourbon. It's really good. But this is...
It's a great, easy to get one. But this one is the toasted barrel, which means they've not only toasted it at the start of the process, it's the end as well. They rebarrel it?
Yeah, rebarrel into a toasted barrel. They say they toast it and do it what they call a flash-char.
It's like a quick char.
Yeah, super quick. So just a little bit, they flame it enough so that the barrel chars just a little bit.
Yeah, but
which Michters don't do, by the way.
That toasting, that gets like a lot of the caramelly flavours by putting it in toast rather than just charring it. Because charring it, it goes all chocolatey and dark. But when they toast it, it's kind of like...
Yeah, when people ask me about this, I think the best way to explain it is to think about what you do when you make toast. If you put the barrel in a toaster... You're going to get this, you're going to slowly heat it up with this ambient heat.
Yeah, and light brown kind of.
That kind of a thing, but you're not going to, unless you did that for way too long, you wouldn't get the blackness that you get from a char. But then a char is exposed to fire, like putting it on, like a log on the fire.
I was going to say stick a marshmallow in the fire, that's right. And it lights up. It gets a black outside.
About it, yeah. Anyway, so.
Oh, it's definitely smoky.
Speaking of marshmallows, that chocolatey.
Yeah, I'm like sitting by the campfire.
S'morey kind of goodness that you're supposed to get on a toasted finish.
Because you definitely get the toast smell and the chocolate smell. It does. It's like I'm about to drink a s'more. How's the taste compared to the smell?
It's so good. And I remember this experience. It's that lovely sweetness. It's super desserty. It's got that dessertiness.
Oh, my goodness.
That you get from... It's not the same as Woodford Double Oak, but it's like a really yummy dessertiness. Bourbon's a sweet spirit anyway. Hey,
but if you're going for something like delicious, like sometimes they can be quite smoky, whereas this is like, really desserty and chocolatey.
So 2 Kentucky Bourbon Festivals ago, they launched this and they were pouring it. And
that was our first one.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is the last we've got, Dave.
I know, we'll get some more when we're back in the US, but we went to, there was always that huge queue.
Oh, yeah.
For the Heaven Hill stuff. And I went to go and taste it. And I was like, oh my goodness, what's this? I want a bottle of that. And they're like, no. That was what the queues were for. You can't get it.
You tasted it afterwards. So where'd you get this
queues for other stuff too. But so I went back later. I found a reason to have a business trip.
Oh, this is when you went back again.
Well,
I was like, we didn't bring it back from that festival.
We didn't. No. But
we missed the queue.
I went hunting for it to try to track it down. In fact, I think I was looking for this when I found the C923. Oh. Which is a funny...
But that's a great example of how we just weren't in the know. We were enjoying ourselves, trying all the different bourbons and watching people queue up for clearly delicious stuff.
But I reckon the difference on this, like the finish gives it such a different flavour to lots of other bourbons that I remember thinking, wow, that's really different in a really wonderful way.
You are a fan of the different bourbon, Dave.
Well, especially after a big day of drinking bourbons. It really did stand out.
Well, the different ones stand out.
In a positive way, yeah.
But I like that. That's a good dessert. Sit by the fire. It would go really nicely with some dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's quite desserty by itself anyway. But, yeah. What can you tell me about Elijah Craig, H?
Well, He is known as the father of bourbon, though some people say that's a claim to be the father of bourbon. But I don't know. You know more about that than me.
Well, for sure. I mean, there's authors around.
It says on the bottle, father of bourbon.
It's a marketing thing, isn't it? You can put whatever you want on a bottle, theoretically.
But like it's the story that he was one of the first, like...
Wait, is he the first to have charred a barrel? Is that what they supposedly say?
Yeah, that's what they imply. That maybe they're a bit like us. They don't double check all their facts.
Do you know one of the things that I really love about what happens here? So they say, in their marketing video about this, they say, this is a real homage to Elijah Craig because we're taking the barrel thing a bit further. And, he was the first to char a barrel, do things with a barrel, and now we're going to do it again to do a second finish. Of course, they're not the first to do it. They're kind of really late to the party in terms of big distilleries doing this. But this is a really wonderful example of just how much control distilleries have over the flavours you can get from a barrel.
Oh, yeah, because all the different ways they char it, but then by putting it back in another barrel, how they've toasted it, how they've charred that, what they do to that second process, it just completely changes all the flavours.
And I don't know enough. We should talk to someone who's it works in coopering, but the heat that you take the barrel to in the toasting process and the length you have it at will literally, there's almost like a guidebook, I think, to if you take it to a particular temperature, you're going to get vanilla or cinnamon.
There's an incredible
science
spices as to what flavour you want to get out of the barrel, as to what level you toast it to or level you char it to, and especially when they're rebarreling it and putting it in a toasted barrel at the end, you're going to completely change your flavour again.
I think I want to learn a bit more about what a flash-char means. Is that char 1 or is it like something else? Is it something that's even lighter than char level 1?
Like the quickest char possible. But then it's got to be a level of heat.
Yeah, well, and
when we go back, Dave, we need to go to a cooperage where they make the barrels.
I reckon we should.
And not just learn about the bourbon, learn about the barrels.
You can probably go to Kelvin too. We should definitely go and do that. All right. Can we put it on the list for September? Expand
our knowledge of not just bourbon. We can
let's get them on the pod.
Barrels as well.
Let's have a chat with them and we'll get them on the podcast and they can.
Yeah.
Or is that going to get too nerdy? Is there such a thing?
It's too nerdy? No.
I'm glad you agree with me on that.
Well, no, it's bourbon and bourbon barrels, and it's our special interest, Dave.
It's our special interest. It's our thing as a married couple that we have together.
Yeah,
special interest. Can I make a wonderful admission to you?
Ooh.
That Elijah Craig small batch, the normal bottle you get on the shelf in Australia, the one that you can normally get, looks almost identical to this bottle, but it doesn't have the word toasted.
Barrel, a nice little sticker at the bottom.
So when you buy that in Melbourne, I had walked past that a whole lot. In fact, I reckon
the toasted one?
No, not toasted, the small batch. Because, it's a nice bottle. I think I'd had it once and didn't think that much of it. And then when we started doing the podcast, I started to do a bit more reading about the bottles we were talking about. And when we did that first podcast, I did a little bit of reading about what people said about it and really came to appreciate just how good that bottle, because it's not very expensive. I think it's $75, $80 or something. In the scheme of bourbon, it's not expensive.
Craig,
yeah. And But
I find the Elijah Craig, it's very easy drinking, is how I put it. It's
easy drinking, but it's very complex, and there's a really good amount of stuff going on in there, flavour-wise, compared to, I don't even know what I would compare it to, but at that same price point, it feels like an old bourbon. I think I'm going to get it wrong, 7 or 8 years old. And then around that price point in Australia, you won't get anything like that, I don't think, until you get up to an Eagle Rare. Which again is ridiculously cost effective for, a really reasonable
good bourbon,
value for a 10-year-old bourbon. Anyway, sorry, we digress into value. But so I became a bigger fan of Elijah Craig because of the podcast, so this is what we've been trying to do, right, with the podcast, is learn more ourselves.
Yeah, learn more, share it with others.
Share some stories.
See if they know any good ones, or they can try some ones that we recommend.
We're sorry that the toasted barrel is hard to get in Australia, but we would
definitely try an Elijah Craig, because they're very easy to get.
Hands on a small batch for sure, and
tell us what you think.
Yeah, and then when you're in the States, or if you can get your hands on... Actually, maybe the guys at Goodwater would have toasted barrel. They probably would, you know. We should check it
They've
out.
got good stuff there.
They've got great stuff there. We should do some podcast there too. We should stop doing our podcast planning in the middle of the podcast.
People might send in their ideas, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome to send in your ideas. But here's to a delicious, yet another desserty, yummy pour.
Yeah, get yourself some chocolate and have a toasted barrel Elijah Craig.
Oh, yeah. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.